Disclaimer. This video is about my personal experience with Genshin and my own reasons to not play this game anymore. The sole purpose of this video is once again aware people about how unhealthy and bad gacha games can be and how they can negatively affect you financially, emotionally and psychologically. This is not a boycott Genshin video. In fact, I believe that the only proper way to boycott a game is to not talk about it at all. Ignore it, pretend that it does not exist. And I am, in fact, doing quite the opposite. With all that was said, let me share with you my story and explain why I feel so bad about Genshin Impact. Hi, my name is Ani, please leave a like and subscribe. I am a day one Genshin player. I found out about the game from my friend's recommendation. The game looked similar to some JRPGs that I really enjoyed, like Ni no Kuni or games from Tales series from Bandai Namco. It was a COVID time when everyone spent majority of their time sitting at home. We were stressed out about the future and afraid to go outside and catch a virus. Spoiler, I caught it anyway. We were excited for the new games to come out. I started with my friend and it was a lot of fun doing bosses fights, completing dailies together or just goofing around. I 100%ed the entire Mondstadt in just a month. It was so fun and I couldn't stop. Of course, I started watching a lot of new content creators on YouTube and Twitch who were covering the game. At that time, I was a final year student with a part-time job, so I haven't much money to invest in the game. That's why I chose to grind a lot to farm enough Primo Gems to get my first 5-star character, and it was Chi-Chi. Anyway, it was really good time and happy memories for me. Slowly time passed. After farming almost all the content, I started to feel like there's not much to do, and some of my friends dropped. I started to spend less and less time in Genshin, missed few banners because I couldn't get enough primos for pools, so decided to buy that beautiful subscription. And my pools become so much better. Instead of running around the map for hours to open every single chest and solve every single puzzle, now the only thing that I needed to do is just log in. I still was losing my 50-50s, but now it was guaranteed to receive a 5-star character every other banner. Yeah, that was a moment when a game hooked me. Actually, Genshin was not my first gacha game. I have played a lot of mobile gachas, like Love Live's Cool Idol, cute mobile rhythm game. So I was aware how predatory gacha gambling can be. I knew that you lost to the gacha casino at the exact moment when you spent real money for the first time. That sweet 0.99 deal, you know. And in the future, game will only be asking you for more and more and more. But with Genshin, it felt like I was not spending money on pools, but rather exchanging my free time for the money. You know, you either spend time to farm primos or you pay and get the same amount. Oh, how wrong I was! And after almost a year after release, the big 2.0 update brought a new story and a new big area to explore, the Inazuma. I was so excited about it. Some of my friends even decided to return to the game to check this update, only to realize that the new area is not that big and you actually need to wait more to get the content. That was the time I noticed that relying solely on free-to-play sources of Primo Gems will never, ever bring you the same amount of resources as one single swipe. So I continued the subscription and even bought a battle pass few times, because that was the only stable source of Primo Gems for my pools. I wanted to collect as many characters as possible, and that was the only way to play this game for me. Of course, there were not everything perfect with the game. There were a lot of bugs and lags, extremely boring quests, mechanics that received a downgrade, characters that seemed to be forgotten by developers, and unfixed problems present since day one. And of course, there were people who tried to publicly talk about it, about all the issues that Genshin had. But instead of fixing all the issues and making the game more enjoyable for everyone, developers decided to just ignore and silence people who were complaining. Truly, why bother spending time and resources into something that brings you money even without the effort? Even though some of the problems were actually fixed, I believe that 3.0 summary update was the time when majority of people that I know dropped the game and never come back. The main reason for that could be a quite repetitive events, long and unvoiced exploration side quests, the Aranara. The fact that new characters seemed almost like an old ones but recolored, and some of the 4-star characters were really uninteresting and boring to play. Giant map areas that were almost empty and therefore uncomfortable to explore without certain characters that were limited, and of course accusation in misrepresentation of people of different ethnicities and cultures. If I continue to list all the problems that Genshin have, it will be a pretty long video. While devs kept ignoring the feedback and closing their eyes on complaints, the pile of problems only became bigger and bigger. But I still continued to log in every day, kept playing and pulling for characters, hoping that Genshin will get better. I was in denial. The game where I invested so much money and time can't be bad, right? In the wave of copium to silence all the negative thoughts, I decided to spend even more into the game. I basically bought myself a Hu Tao and her signature weapon, only to realize that I don't actually like her playstyle, especially when Hyper Bloom became the new meta. I was not feeling that much happiness when I played Genshin anymore, but I still kept doing it. Kept log in every day first thing in the morning. It was like a coffee for me. I couldn't start my day without completing a dailies. Genshin became basically a part of my daily routine. The first moment when I realized that something is not okay is when I went on the summer vacation with my family and friends. You see, sometimes beach resorts don't have a good Wi-Fi everywhere, so every morning I went to the reception desk hall, the only location with an okay internet connection, and somehow did my dailies. It took much more time than usual because of the lags, and I felt uncomfortable, angry sometimes, and anxious about it. I was sitting there near the window with a beautiful view, watching my friends splash in the sea, enjoying their summertime to the max, while I was stuck with the stupid internet, stupid lags, and stupid game that I need to play every day in order to be happy. I started thinking to myself, why am I doing it? Is it really what I want? What exactly in this game brings me happiness? I was deep into my negative thoughts when one of the women working on reception came to me with incredibly looking gin and tonic cocktail, the perfect summer drink, and asked if I want one for free. At that moment something clicked in my head and I said, hell yeah! And completely turned off my phone for the rest of the vacation. That was one of the best choices that I made. Of course, these thoughts did not come to me immediately. They went through a rather long process of formation in my head. And I just want to say thank you to all the content creators who are not afraid to talk about the problems that gambling addiction can cause. You are people who help me to get through it. Because the first step in solving the problem is to acknowledge that you actually have a problem. Slowly I started spending less and less time and money into Genshin until dropped it completely about a year ago. It was a Fontaine 4.0 update. Even though the story quest was interesting, the world exploration was kinda problematic for me. I have a seasickness, so when I explored the underwater area of Fontaine, I had an uncomfortable and weird feeling in my stomach, while everything is moving on the screen. I wish there would be an option to turn off the underwater wobbling. I hated it. Every time in the main quest and in the dailies when you need to swim. So I guess it was also one of the reasons why I decided to stop. Well, obviously I logged into my account for making this video, but right now I can clearly say that something changed in my brain chemistry. I don't feel the urge to play Genshin or any other gacha game every day anymore. I just don't need it. I would rather spend this time doing something that brings me joy, like making a new video for YouTube or streaming on twitch.tv/AnnieReader. Money can be earned back, but time is the most valuable resource that humans have. Was I forced to spend money into the game? No, it was my own decision, really dumb decision in my opinion, but I am the only one responsible for it and for its consequences. But I know that for a lot of people, Genshin was their first gacha game, and they had or still having the same unhealthy attitude towards it. If you are that person, I encourage you to share your story in the comments. I will read them all. And in conclusion, I really want you to think what is the most fun part about Genshin for you, when you was most excited to play it. For me, I guess it was the warm, nostalgic feeling of happy time spent with my friends that kept me playing all that years. We need to move on. Genshin now is a 4 years old game, and majority of the things that were annoying from day one still exist. There is already a lot of games in the same genre that looks better, plays better, and just feels better. In addition, we have information about new games in this niche that will be released soon, like Azure Promelia, NTE, Project Mugen, and many others that you can enjoy, find new community of people, and create even more happy memories. We are here to have fun. In fact, it upsets me to see how Genshin right now is struggling to get their player base back after years of neglect. Only because they got a decent competitor now, and not because they respect and care about players who literally brought them billions of dollars of revenue and made their game popular. I do not believe that Hoyo changed, and I do not have any trust to that company. Neither new region nor any amount of free characters will change that. But what do you think? That's all for today's video. Thank you very much for watching. Leave a like and subscribe. I would be happy to see you in the next one. Bye bye!